I'm being joined in the studio by Mr. Benson Upah. Mr. Benson Upah is the head of information and publicity at the Nigerian Labour Congress. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on Business Daily.
Thank you very much.
Another May Day.
Head of Information and Public Affairs.
I'm sorry about that. Head of Information and Public Affairs at NLC. Thanks for your time. And yet another May Day celebration. I mean, it's been from one tales to the other. We see this complaint almost every year. Is it yet another, much talk and less action of celebration?
Less action from who?
Well, it could be from NLC, it could be from the government.
No. I would want to know the direction of your question. We complain.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that yes. NLC are very good at, pushing forward their demand.
Yes.
But in most cases, you push forward the demand without, proper follow-up in some cases. That's why almost every May Day celebration, we see the repeat of the same concerns that were, almost every year across various states.
No, I would disagree with you that we do not do a follow-up. We do follow-up. I have made this point again. We have made this point again and again that what people see on the street is the final stage of our engagement. We have a process through verbal engagement, letter writing, meetings, all of that. So we do not make demands and go to bed. For each demand made, whether on May Day or outside May Day, we have the culture of follow-up. So if government, if government chooses not to do enough, the government should be blamed for it. We should not be blamed for the reluctance of government to do the needful.
Perhaps your demands are not realistic. Is that why government is not, attempting even in some cases to fulfill them?
You see, I do not understand your question. Maybe our demands are not realistic. The demands for improved state of the nation, demands for security, demands for provision of light and water at affordable
demand for minimum wage.
I'm itemizing them for you. Would you in all honesty consider these demands as unrealistic? We're not, for goodness sake, we're not asking for skyscrapers to be built for us. We're not asking for villas to be built for us in the remote places of the earth. We're asking that the poor should breed. We're asking that the poor should at least have their basic needs and necessities met. I don't think that is asking for too much.
No, your demands are actually genuine, but there's one that actually stands out, the minimum wage demand. Initially, what you wanted was over 250,000 naira. You were able to reach an agreement with the government, and of course, about 70,000 naira was approved for minimum, which some states are still not even paying as we speak as well. But there was a condition to that agreement. The condition was that there was, the fuel prices was not going to be, increased unnecessarily. But we've seen that happen. But yet, the Labour has been quiet on this.
Once again, that will not be a proper recollection of what happened. I do agree with you that, yes, there was an understanding that the status quo should be maintained for our accepting 70,000. Because Mr. President, at that meeting, that unique meeting, did say he was ready to pay 250,000 subject to raising the pump price of petrol to between 2,000 and 2,500 naira and all of that. If we are ready for that, fine. But he was also ready to to pay 70,000 on the basis of the status quo.
Which at the time was around 550 naira.
So we looked at it. I said, okay, instead of spreading and deepening this pain, let us limit it. Let us accept 70,000 and keep the status quo. But no sooner than we accepted that, than the government reneged on its
agreement.
Yes. Of course, when that happened, we issued a statement entitled that we have been betrayed, something like that. Of course, there was a rebuttal, but there was a statement, a counter statement from the presidency, saying that no such understanding was reached. Of course, we came back and we stood by our statement, and that was the end of the matter. But in all honesty, I want to tell you that the 70,000, even as it was a deal cut, was based on the existing parameters of the time. But they have since changed, rendering the 70,000 totally
irrelevant. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. In a way, maybe government played NLC into accepting the demand that they knew they were not going to keep, maybe. But let's move forward now and look at other issues as well, because you raised some issues yesterday talking about NLC. Part of the issue is to ask the government to fix the economy, of course, security, in a way to ease Nigerians' plight.
Yes.
I mean, how much of engagement have you had with government with regards to this matter? Because your members, Nigerians in general, who look up to you are so much affected.
Well, we have been consistent in our demand for opening up both the physical space, opening and securing the physical space, and the democratic space. We have been consistent. On the issue of the physical space, we have been saying government should change its methods. The methods it had been using to a certain extent have not worked enough. Okay? So we said government should go back, put on its thinking cap, and change its tactics. Because as it is, there is renewed violence across the length and breadth of the country. In the northeast,
in Plateau, in Benue,
in the Middle Belt, in the southwest, in the southeast, in the south-south. So why is this happening? This should be the question we should ask ourselves. I have been at programs when discussions have been had about the need to use non-kinetic approach in resolving our security issues. And I'm aware of the fact that beautiful suggestions had been made for government to implement. I cannot speak for government at this point in time. If those recommendations are not fully implemented, we'll keep on having what we're having. We'll just have respite, and before you know it, boom. So, and part of this, some of the recommendations, I will tell you, included the issues of poverty.
Addressing the issue of poverty, yes. Good governance.
Good governance, unemployment, and etc. So, so Nigeria as it is.
You are also demanding for a clear call. You are also demanding for economic justice. You feel what is happening in the system now is clearly injustice. There's the gap between the have and the have not is quite wide.
Yes, of course, this administration is decidedly market, not just market, fundamentally market. That is, those who can make money for themselves, they are given free rein to go out there and make as much money as they can. But we have been telling government, unbridled capitalism has its consequences. In fact, one of the staying powers of capitalism over the ages is that when it notices the mood of the people, it pushes bread and butter forward. That is the reason why in advanced economies you have what we call social protection. You have unemployment benefits. You have milk given to new babies free. You have subsidized transport, virtually all modes of transport except perhaps air. So capitalism moderates its greed, okay? So that way it's able to contain the people. But here in Nigeria we have capitalism without a human face, okay? There is nothing to reduce the tension, to reduce the pain, to reduce the anger. They simply tell the poor, go to hell. So consequences, there are consequences when you have a market government or a market-oriented government that does not think of giving it a human face. So we are demanding that government should give a human face to its reforms.
Well, you think government is more interested in making money from the citizen? You're referring to them that a marketing government.
Absolutely. Not marketing, market government.
Okay.
Market government.
Okay.
And by that, and I can give you statistics. We moved from 700 billion, fact, that was what was being shared, to now
over $1 trillion.
What over? 1.6 trillion. Okay? Now, has your life improved?
Well, the value of that money has been eroded by the devaluation of Naira anyway.
We didn't devalue the Naira. The government devalued the Naira as part of these policies.
Absolutely. We are all under the same government.
So that's what I'm telling you. But I tell you this, some people are very comfortable. They don't feel this pinch. They don't feel this pain. Okay? So what we're saying is that government should should be certain, should be firm about giving human face to the reforms it is putting in place.
They say they are actually helping us to have a better tomorrow.
That
the pains of today is just like a pregnant woman who is in the labor room.
Well, keep waiting. Keep waiting.
Comrade, let's move forward and look at the issue of, there's also an urgent call by NLC yesterday for salary adjustment that reflect current economic realities. How much is enough?
Yeah. How much is enough? And let me just make a distinction between salaries that reflect current realities, a distinction between that and minimum wage. Okay? I think the last time salaries were reviewed was 2009 or thereabout, salaries of workers. I'm not very sure of that date now. But of course, it was just about 50%. At that time, a year or two after that, salaries of political office holders were reviewed by about 300%. And across board, I mean, by that statement, I mean, what a councillor in Benue State earns is what a councillor in Lagos earns, Lagos State earns. It's the same thing across political office holders. So, I mean, so their salaries and pecs were insured. That of workers, even as the review was just paltry, states have their different pay structures. And I keep making this comparison. For instance, what a director earns in Anambra State is what a chief earns in Benue State. Do you understand? But for political office holders, it's not. They earn the same whatever from
so
and they have ways and means, perks, and all that. In fact, from front,
so you feel
left, right. So for workers, so in summary, workers' wages need to be reviewed upward. Recently, we had that of the judiciary done. Judges, you understand?
About 300%.
I don't know the exact figure, but it was done.
Yes,
you understand
300%.
So, why would you not begrudge the members of the bench for that? We would want this good thing to
be extended
to
other unions.
Yes, because we go to the same market.
Absolutely. Comrade, let's also look at, you also talk about the issue of the tax reform bill already that is being there before the National Assembly. A lot of work is being done in that regard. You say you're not being consulted, that Labour is not being carried along in the process. You also criticize the current existing tax payee tax system, questioning the government on what exactly is being taxed.
Yeah. Well, let me say that Labour is the largest tax-paying community in Nigeria. Okay? When government set up the committee to look at the issues of taxes, it did not consult us. We wrote to government to say, look, because of ABCD, we should be part of that team to advise. Government ignored us and went public with those bills. Of course, you saw the initial reaction, the National Assembly. There was a near revolt. It took the personal intervention of Mr. President for those tax bills to go back to the Parliament. And a lot of that has something. But so that was as a result of inadequate consultation, inadequate education, inadequate whatever. So those bills, among other things, seek to tax allowances of workers, bills, health bills. They seek to tax the small money that the people in the informal sector make. Your leave allowance will be taxed. Virtually everything, and those things were never taxed before. They were not taxed.
All right.
And let me tell you something. Of course, government said that there was going to be some relief, that people who earn below 1 million were not going to be taxed. But based on what we earn now, it's difficult to find any worker in the formal sector earning
less than 1 million. I agree.
So, so there is no relief. There is nothing.
Comrade, we're almost out of time. But in 30 seconds, what do you think NLC is going to do about it? Because it does seem like the only language government understands is protest.
We will get there if government doesn't yield to our demands. And let me tell you, these are people-oriented demands. Happily, the president, in his speech yesterday, said, well, he acknowledged the pains of Nigerian workers and that he would do the needful to ensure that these pains are ameliorated. We do hope that he will match his words with action.
Comrade, this is not the first time the president or people in government are acknowledging our pains, but nothing is really being done about it. I must thank you. Comrade Benson Upah, Head of Information and Public Affairs at the Nigerian Labour Congress. Thank you for your time on Business Daily.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. With that, is a wrap on this show for today, and of course for the week. We'll be back on Monday. I am Yusuf Akogun.